episode is about adventure and the kind of life lessons it can offer us. Now, trekking in the high mountains can offer us a different perspective on how to handle challenges at business and in work. Now, for example, taking things like taking strategic decisions or setting goals or working with teams of different capabilities. Now, these are sort of decisions that we take on a daily basis at work, perhaps on autopilot. But when you're taking them at 17,000 feet, they acquire a critical importance and emphasis. And for that, you need a special focus and a different mindset. Now, that is something that we can sort of incorporate back into our daily lives at ground level. Now, I know most of us are probably not going to head out into the mountains pretty soon, but we can do the next best thing, which is to hear from someone who's been there and done that. My guest today is Nisha Khetan, co founder and partner at Cubic Communications, a media relations agency that specializes in PR, social media strategy, and storytelling. She is also a mom and a powerhouse. She's an active marathon runner and has most recently trekked to Everest Base Camp. Hello and welcome, Nisha. So great to have
Hi,
you
hi,
on the show.
Vrushali. Thank you for having me here. Um,
Uh, First of all, congratulations. It's such an amazing achievement. And I think as we're recording, it's probably just been a few days or weeks since you returned, right? From
I
base.
returned 14 days back, and yeah, it was after I returned, I realized what a great achievement it was. At that point of time, it was just about reaching the EBC. So yeah,
Can you just begin by telling us a little bit about how you decided to go to Everest Base Camp?
I think the thing which I realized is that I'm largely a challenge seeker. My first challenge was the 50-kilometer Oxfam, which I took about 4 years back. That gave me the confidence as okay, if I can walk 50 kilometers, I can also run. So that's when I started my marathon training. I've done about 8 half marathons, and somewhere in between, I took up a smaller mountain climb, which was about 13,000 feet to Harkidon. There was a group that was going, and it seemed like just the perfect opportunity.
Do you sort of see that any parallels in the way you sort of prepped or as you did the trek between the trek and your business life, so to speak?
So interestingly, when I was trekking, when I was in the mountains for 14 days, it almost felt like the 13 years of Cubic is being kind of crunched into those 13 days. For example, when Sangeeta and I started Cubic, startups was not something that people did. It was in back in 2011. It was not fashionable. So many parallels, Vishali. Going forward, when every day was a new challenge. Every day, when we woke up, all we knew, we had lots of data in hand. So, for example, we would know how many kilometers we have to walk. Roughly, we would know what's the incline that we have to achieve. But at the same time, when you start the trek, you don't know if you slept enough, or if the wind, for example, the last day, or the day then we were reaching EBC, the Everest Base Camp, the wind somehow was far more brutal than the rest of the days. You cannot prepare for it. You can wear 5 layers, but you still have to face that wind and the challenge that it brings to you. So it's about being ready to take each day as it comes. On a trek, on a everyday basis, there are like you started with, that there are many decisions that you have to make on the go. You have to understand your own individual capacity, and also what your ultimate goal is. So at two places, I took the call of not really going for the higher incline, because somewhere I thought that it would tire me a lot more than and I will not be able to recover for the next day trek, which was going to be a very long day. So every now and then, mentally, what helped me was that I kept calculating, are my muscles tired, or am I not getting enough oxygen? Because if your muscles are tired, well, there's nothing much that you can do. If you know that is just because of the oxygen level, then you can slow yourself down.
When you started the trek, This was a bunch of people that were probably meeting for the first time. Again, very different goals, different career
Yeah.
stages, different stages in their life. How did you all
Yes.
get along? Because you all had to work together as a team as well, right? Or even if you didn't always like each other or whatever, you know.
Yeah. In fact, I didn't know anyone. I mean, I think what united us was that all of us had a common goal. It was everybody knew that that 14 of us have one common goal of EBC, and somewhere or the other, um, within the couple of days, we realized that all of us will need help, and it's just sometimes just a little push of somebody standing next to you and waiting for you till the time you have taken the next step.
Yeah. And something you said about doing that thing for yourself, it sort of recalled an earlier conversation we had about a book, that we were talking about. It's called, I think, Wild
While
by, yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that resonated with you as well?
So the first time when I read Wild, that was when my second daughter was about 1.5 years old, and trust me, that was my reason for taking up the challenge of Harkidun, because it was being in the wild, or taking up a challenge that seemed impossible at one point of time, is and the subsequent impact of it on your life is, I mean, if she could do it for 31 days, I can definitely do it for 7 days, is what I thought, and it definitely impacted me a lot. So
So yeah, amazing, amazing journey so far. I was wondering if you have any sort of tips for people to uh, change their mindset or to sort of rethink their challenges. Some sort of lessons or learnings that you may have had from your trek to EBC.
So not just trek from EBC, and or maybe also from my trek to EBC, is that as a working woman, or you have multiple responsibilities. You have responsibility of your kids, your work, and none of it is easy. None of it is served to you on a platter, and no matter what. You are constantly judged for doing things that you're doing, especially when it's only for your own self. For me, what has worked is that every now and then I do take up challenges which makes me happy, and not as a family unit. So whether it's going and taking up a challenge of open water swimming, which I did recently, and or something like an EPC. These are things which I do absolutely for my own self. Of course, you have to make sure that everything else when you're not there is taken care of. But that's something that I have learned, that when I come back, I'm a happier person.
At this point, I'd like to sort of share some pictures that you shared with us. Maybe you could just talk us through what those pictures meant and any key moments that you'd like.
For people who are in Bombay, they would probably relate to this. These are Mount Mary steps. Um, so I did a lot of my training. At least once a week, I would go here and walk up and down. And that little figure there is my friend, who would come with me just to give me company and kind of, keep me motivated. So I had a couple of other cheerleaders who constantly helped me train. And these steps, oh my God, they are not easy. So especially when you're carrying like 5 kilos of weight, because that's what
Oh
I
wow!
wanted to, that's what you were training for. This, like I said, that the first 2 days, I was quite unwell, and it was definitely not because of the height. It was probably the cold and the food, everything. And this, when I reached, this was the third day, part of the some extent acclimatization trek to to the highest cafe of the world, which is the Everest Base Camp Cafe. Maybe I can send you a picture of that also. And for me, I was only thrilled and happy that I was feeling strong. That day I was leading the pack, as somebody said, and it just boosted my confidence tremendously. This picture is again on the highest suspension bridge of the world, and somewhere the flags that are there,
Hmm.
of course, a part of the Nepal culture, which are prayer flags, as we all know. Uh, they add to the, I would say, spirituality uh, of the place. So you are surrounded by mountains. You're surrounded by very strong wind, and then there are those the flags which are almost like they're sending you good wishes. So when you reach there, um, it's a feeling of great achievement. It's just that, yes, on the road, on an average, there are about 60,000 people who attempt TTC. I don't have any figure for how many actually succeed. But when you reach there and when you feel that you did it well, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling as a personal achievement, because you don't care about who else did that. It was a goal for you and you achieved it, and that's all that you can think about.
It's also a peak, right? That you.
Yes, this is the Gokyo Reef, which is slightly, I mean, about 50 meters or 100 meters higher than the height of EBC. Gokyo-ri, when you are at the near the lake, seems very easy. Seems as if, well, okay, it's a smallish hike, because you can literally see also the flags at the summit from the bottom. When you start climbing, is when you realize the ups and downs that it offers. And at many point of time, you thought that, oh, now I'm in 10 minutes I'll reach, and it easily took us 1 hour from that point. So Gokyuri was a lesson in in entrepreneurship, frankly, on how never to take the your success for granted, or never to lose sight of the fact that it may take longer than what you have planned for. You can manage.
Yes. Yeah. And now I think the most important picture.
Huh?
Your family.
This was
What did you think about it? What are they saying?
sorry.
How
So,
does your family reacted to this
uh,
amazing achievement?
so according to my family, nobody had any doubts that I would not achieve it. So,
Of course.
and of course, my my everybody from my family, my in-laws, my parents, of course, my husband, and also kids, are very confident, are very supportive. You realize what a um, the magnitude of when you are in a place like near EBC. So there were places where the largest of the mountains, like the Amadablam, were so close to you. Experience at Gokyuri, I believe, is nothing less than magical, because of course you are, it's the 10th or the 11th day of being in the mountains, and somewhere you feel, what is it different that you can really see now? And yet, when you reach the summit or on the way to the summit, you find yourself surrounded by these huge peaks that you have only heard about. It's again, I mean, what the mountains, and especially the Gokyuri and Everest offers in terms of beauty, is cannot be captured in a picture or a video, though we all have tried to. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
it's
would.
actually, yeah, it's so true. It's just being in that presence there and then just
Yeah,
experiencing it as it happens, feeling nature at its
yeah,
most powerful and its most beautiful. So it's been great to chat with you. It's been such an inspiring journey, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of people and really resonate with them, especially those who are planning to take that next big step either at work or in life. So thank you so much for joining in
thank
today.
you, Vrishali, for having me. I'll be happy if in even if one person gets inspired by my journey, that would be great.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to have you. And
Thank you.
for all those listening in, please feel free to like or share this podcast with your networks. Thank you for watching.